it cuts out, I will try my best to use my outdoor voice inside. So just gonna go over the schedule, what to expect. As you can see, it's all set up in the back here. And it kind of looks like a press conference, might be the same kind of feel, so you have to get an idea what to expect. So each of the current officers is going to ask the current candidates running for that position questions. So Barrage President would be asking all the candidates in the president position questions. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, good. And each candidate will have 35 seconds to answer the question. I know that seems like really, really little, but it's just so that everybody gets a chance to answer the questions. And we have 2 hours and we have half an hour slot for each candidate position. So this we kind of worked it out, and it just comes to 35 seconds. The person asking you the questions will be timing you, so you don't have to worry about timing yourself. And yeah, just have fun and do your best. So the order in which it will be, presidential candidates, that sounds really really big. Presidential candidates will be going first. So from, I guess, from whenever I stop talking, questions getting answered. So half an hour, and then it will be BPE, then it will be BPW, and the last one will be BPSA. Any questions, or is that pretty clear? Yes?
I know you said you don't have to, but can we time ourselves just so we can get the pace of our answers?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Any other questions? Okay, who's ready? Woo! Yes! Okay, so first it will be our wonderful President Oraj asking all of the presidential candidates questions. So if you're running for that position, please come and have a seat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up to you. It's just we're streaming on Instagram Live, so.
Right, cool. So just start now.
Yeah, you can start.
So first I'm going to go to Batul.
Yeah.
My question is, why did you decide to run for president, and what qualities do you have that make you able to lead the Students' Union?
So I decided to run for student president because I feel like a lot of us been disadvantaged during the COVID-19, and a lot of us felt like we paid like $9,000 for no reason, and I feel like I want to bring us together and try to develop more and to see develop more ideas and adapt from other schools, because I'm a business school, so I would not know other schools what they want and running for. And what qualification I have been president before in my previous colleges and school. I'm also a student representative.
Got to stop you there. That's 35 seconds.
Yeah, there you go. Thank
So
you.
everybody's got 35 seconds. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So I'm going to Atul now. So again, why did you decide to run for president, and what qualities do you have that will make you able to lead the Students' Union? Starting now.
Thank you, Parvaz, for asking this question. First of all, I wanted to become the president because I feel there are very much less expectations the students set from their representatives, and the gap needs to be filled. And I'm here to raise the expectation of students and raise their voices. And talking about the qualities, I want to be most approachable and accountable and dependable president ever that Aston has seen, because I feel there is a lack of approachability from the officers and the students from our university. This is my personal opinion. That's what I felt.
Stop. Great. Thanks. Now going on to Joseph.
Yep.
Again, the same question.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for this. Actually, I want to be president because I have some qualities that I can fulfill the gap between the student and the whole process of this university. And one more thing, I am too much approachable. You can contact me 24/7 on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and on Tinder as well. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Very good, very good, very good. So we've got Mohsin now.
Is this thing working, first of all? I want to run for president because I want to try something different, because I'm the type of guy, I always sort of just shy away. But for the first time, I actually want to take initiative, do something, and make a difference for people. I want to be approachable. I want to be the candidate to lead the student body into the future, lead the SU, the student union, into a progressive, forward future. And I think that's a good thing.
Yes. So we're now going on to the next question. So if you were elected as president, what would you prioritise to do, and why at all?
So for me, there are 4 purposes, and I would to prioritize all of them because I promised the students for this. The first purpose is the financial burden of the students from the fees, because the NUS also participating in the strikes, and I would like to follow the NUS and put my contribution towards it. The second thing is the campus experience. I have some ideas, I have some things in place which I need to implement for the to maximize the campus experience of the students. And the third thing is education. There's a lack of flexibility in our education system, which I need to introduce starting from the Aston, and I need support from the students for this. And the fourth thing is the well-being and approachability. Approachability is something that I really want to do.
Got to stop you there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So now going to Tusif, same question.
So I have already mentioned 6 points in my manifesto, you can see, but a few points I want to put in front of you. I want to make a transparency in fee structure, because international students and national students are paying there is a huge gap between this. International students are paying 3 times higher fees here, and lots of job opportunities I want in this university, and international cuisines. Like, as I belongs to India, we don't find such a taste. And one more thing, in student union they don't serve halal foods, so I want halal food to be here.
We do serve halal food.
Sorry?
We do serve halal food.
Sorry. No, I haven't found in university.
Anyway, that's yeah. Mohsin, same question, please.
You can only really prioritize one thing, and you can't prioritize all 4. You can only do one thing at a time. I think my priority would just be safety. I think everyone should feel safe, really. That's it. I mean, people should be safe regardless of their opinions, their race, gender, or whatever. I think safety is a priority for all, and I think we should be working a lot harder to ensure that everyone feels safe and everything.
That's right. Thanks. Thank you. So we're now going to Batul, please.
So I want to prioritize the mental health and safety. As I said, COVID have put us a lot down mentally, and a lot of us probably wanted to quit university, and I want to actually bring that experience to everyone, and also unite us as a campus all together, despite what school you're from, postgraduate or undergraduate, bringing us together, work together, and develop that together. So together we make that change. So it's not just me, it's all of us together, bringing up our ideas together, and that's my prioritize, to support all of us as a mental health and thank you.
So we're now going to the next question. So if you disagreed with the university stance on an issue, how would you challenge them and hold them to account? Tusif, please.
Sorry, could you please?
Yeah, no worries. So if you disagreed with the university's stance on an issue, how would you challenge them and hold them to account?
Okay, I will come up with the facts, and will take students with me, and will struggle for till my last breath. Like, I want to change that. But I want to do it legally. I will not go beyond my limits. So I will try to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, Mohsin? Yeah, so would you like me to repeat it?
If I disagree with the university, what I'd do is come to a compromise with the university, because we are part of the university, and not much you can do, but just compromise them, talk to them, ask them why they think like that, maybe try and convince them to look at things from an alternative perspective, and tell them, well, look, what you're doing is wrong, we need to change it out, we need to come to a solution that's mutually beneficial for all, and
Thank you. So we're now going to go to Batul, please.
Yeah, basically, as I said, like, we're all working together, and I think by signing a petition where most of us actually agreeing to something, I think that would actually put forward to the university to see that majority of us want something to be changed, and trying to explain to them solutions that maybe that could basically benefit the university and also the students together, and that by finding that agreement we could accomplish a lot, and I feel like by doing so we could persuade the university to make those changes together. So thank you so much.
Great, Atul?
Yeah. So if I disagree with something to the university, first of all, I'll go to the students and ask for their opinion, and if they think that it's not right and it's against the welfare of the students, I'll try to talk to the authorities or the management of the university, and I'll try to convince them why it is not why it's not a good thing and why you should stop it. And if that thing doesn't work out, I'll try to get together students with me and show the university that students are against this, and put pressure on the management, and by doing so I'll make sure that they will reverse their decision.
Brilliant, thank you. Great, so I'm going to move on now to question 4. How would you balance your time between students who are already engaged with the Students' Union compared to the students who are not currently engaged? First, I'm going to go with Tusif, please.
Okay, so we are here, and if I would be on that position, my first priority would be to engage students, because we are nothing without the students here. So I will make a meeting, I will try to engage, I will bring some new ideas to engage students here. I will conduct some more activities so that they can engage with the student union, provide them lots of opportunity, and ask them what they want from us, so that I can I can implement for them. Thank you.
Mohsin, please.
Well, first off, I'd try to tell them that it's quite beneficial that they do engage with the Students' Union. But if I can't convince them anymore, then there's nothing much I can do. I can't hold them ransom or something, but there's not much I can do. If they don't want to engage, then I'd convince them. I'd say to them, look, you should engage, but I can't force you to engage. So if you don't want to, then that's your opinion.
Thanks. Batul, please.
Yeah, so I already spoke to some students. I think a lot of them didn't know how to access and how to actually take a part of Aston Union, especially postgraduate. They told me that we only 1 or 2 days in the university, so I don't feel like I should supposed to be like taking part as SU. But I disagree with that. I think we could do activities that actually link to each other. It doesn't matter what's your age. A lot of people said I'm too old for this, but I think it's not about the age. It's about taking a part. And maybe if you feel like you're old, you can actually engage the younger generation and, you know, spread your wisdom and etc. So we're all as one. So thank you.
Batul, please.
Good question, actually, because right now I feel that there's a huge gap between the students who are engaged to the SU and who are not. And I feel there's lack of activities that focus activities to a certain group of students who always tend to get away from the SU, because they don't feel that there's any place at SU for them, although SU is doing everything they can to make them more welcoming. but still there are students who are who are not really into the SU thing, and I feel organizing more activities and collaborating with societies, making particular society for them is a great thing.
Thank you. Brilliant. So I'm now going on to question 5. So the president is a non-portfolio officer, meaning that they do not have a specific remit, unlike the vice presidents. You're also required to manage your own workload. Taking this into account, how would you ensure that you work effectively? Motion, please.
I think it's important to delegate your time well, so just spread everything evenly and manage your time well, and you shouldn't really have a problem after all. I mean, if you manage your time well and effectively, you shouldn't really have much of a problem, and that's about it.
Cheers, thanks. Now going to Batul, please.
So that's good questions. I feel like one of my manifesto as well is to stress management as well. I think by prioritize what's important and deal with it stage by stage, bit by bit, chunks by chunks, you will be achieving it in the right time without stressing yourself, and also enjoy the journey together. So that's how I feel like I could manage my time and effectively, by taking pieces by piece and try to accomplish that. So thank you.
Brilliant. Atul, please.
Yeah, I think prioritizing your time is really important in this, and by doing so, I'll make sure that I do my duties that are most expected for me. And I think I enjoy the process, same as like she said, that enjoying the process is most important. That's how you get rid from stress, and that's how you be more active in your work. And enjoying the work is also the most important thing. That if I get into this role, I will enjoy the role, I'll enjoy the workload, and if I do so, I'll manage the stress that role comes with.
Brilliant, thank you. Now, Tusif, please.
Okay. As I have already mentioned in my manifesto, I will make the pet-friendly campus so that it will reduce your stress as well. And I want a safe environment here. So, and one more thing, I believe in teamwork and all things. So, I don't think so I'm going to be at the top leadership position. We all going to be ruled with together, and we all can solve these all issues together. Thank you.
Brilliant. So, well, I'll ask the question first. Name a leader who has inspired you. Batul?
Who inspired? That's a good question. My inspiration is the Aston student staff that I've already seen. They work day in and day out. I have seen the smile they put on their face despite the stress they've been through. And I feel like I want to do the same. I want to spread that happiness. And I feel like how easy they can approach people. I feel like that's the role models for me. And yeah, thank you.
So I will now go to Atul.
Yeah. The one leader who inspired me the most is Martin Luther King Jr. And it's because he believes in equality and diversity. And the way he gives speeches is very inspiring for me to listen to him. And that's what his ideology, which I am going to bring into this role as well, to treating everyone equally and focusing on every group of students that we have in the diverse environment of Aston. Yeah.
Joseph, please.
As my nationality is India and I admire Mahatma Gandhi too much, my ideology is totally belongs to him. And one more leader, I want to take his name, Nelson Mandela. So these two leaders really inspire me.
Mohsin?
I'll keep it short. Tony Blair, but I don't really agree with a lot of his ideologies, but Tony Blair.
Great, so we're now going on to question 7. So, as a key student representative in university meetings, how would you ensure that the student voice is taken into account? Tusif.
Okay. Before attending such type of meeting, I will ask student as well as staff which will be in favor of university or in favor of students. I will point out that things in front of this meeting board and all things. So that's all the voice comes from the student only. I will put there. Thank you.
Wilson?
Can you repeat the question?
Alright, so, as a key student representative in university meetings, how would you ensure that student voice is taken into account?
Well, campaign. Well, I'm not going to disappear after election. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to ensure that the voice is heard for the students, and if people come up to me with a genuine problem, I will find a solution for it. By hook or by crook, I will find a solution. I will be the president for the people of this university, not just the students and the staff and the lecturers and everyone, because I don't want to run as a president for the students, but as a president for everyone.
Please.
I want to basically, as I speak to the students and know their ideas and things, I would cut it to the main points. Bullet points actually supports to go straight forward and answer the request of the students. Waffling a lot, writing a lot, doesn't actually get to the point exactly what they want. So we'll speak to the student, know what they actually want, and put it in PowerPoint and hand it to them as it is.
Atul, please.
First of all, to raise the issues that I am having in the meeting, I'll take a clear stand on what I want from the meeting. I'll make a report and send it to the concerned members who are in this that meeting. And in that meeting, I'll make sure that I raise my voice and make everyone heard about my key issues, so that everybody will have a really good idea what I am expecting. And I'll also listen to them so that I have a really good idea that what they are offering me. And I'll make the meeting more and more. I'll try to make the meeting productive so that we all of us get something from it. That's what I will do.
Brilliant. Thank you. So that's the end of the questions for presidential candidates. I wish you the best and massive good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
We have, okay, we have about 10 minutes. So, because we have some time, we are able to take questions from the audience. We're going to take a few questions from the audience, and then I believe there's some questions on Instagram as well. No questions on Instagram? Okay, no questions on Instagram. But yes, if you have a question, please raise your hand.
My question is for Mohsen. What is it about Tony Blair that really inspires you?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I guess it's just his charisma, his leadership, and how he won a Labour landslide in a time when, well, politics wasn't really popular, and well, he took us out of the darkness of John Major's government and brought us into the light and brought Britain forward. A Good Friday Agreement ended the dispute with Northern Ireland, and well, other than the Iraq War and stuff like that, which I'm totally against, he was a damn good leader.
Okay, thank you. I believe we have a question, and then
I don't know if I can ask all of you, but since there's a lot of us hopefully who are going to be working with you as president, how do you see yourself working with us members of vice presidents and directing as a president to enforce good ways for that?
is that for everyone?
If possible.
Okay, yeah. Who would like to answer? You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Me.
I go. Yeah, so.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Go.
Okay, Atul, and then go ahead.
I'll go.
1, 2, 3, go.
I think looking around, you all look like cool people, and I look forward to meeting. I look forward to getting to know you all and working with all of you.
Great. Atul?
Thank you. I think working with people coming from different backgrounds is a really interesting thing. As we have seen in our current representatives, they belong to very different backgrounds, and they're managing the team very efficiently. And that's what I will do. Working with you guys will make me more open to ideas, and to work with you guys make me do more creative things, especially. And I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
So as I said, together we can do the impossible. And I have met most of you and spoke to, and you all guys lovely. And I feel like by speaking together, approaching together, probably we may have meetings beforehand to know one each other, and that's mainly the most important, to know individually and supporting one another, because if without each other we can't accomplish something, and I feel that's the way for doing it. So thank you.
I think we already had started working together for last 3 days on Instagram, so it will be a great fun to work with all of us.
So what can you guys do that other presidents haven't already done? So that's for everyone.
What would you do if something else different than the other
What
president
What
did?
would you do that another president
hasn't done so far?
Ready? What? Wait. Okay, Atul, Yusuf, Abdul, and Nicola.
Thank you, Chris. I think my first purpose, which I have also mentioned in the manifesto, is fully funded education and fee justice for international students. I don't think any president before has done this. And I'll really try to push forward to this cause. I'm really committed to it. And I'll really try to make this thing into action.
Okay. First of all, I just want a huge round of clap for Balraj. He has done a great work before. Okay, so what I want to add, I am already working on an anti-harassment application as my MBA project, and I'm also working on an international cuisine a food truck nearby Aston will be called Serving Desi. Will serve Indian food. So I will do that as soon as my student visa will be cancelled and startup visa will arrive. So I will do that, and I will look for more job opportunity for the students in university. Thank you.
I just want to
Wait, you already answered, right?
just for follow up for the Tosif.
Okay, but we're gonna let the others answer. And
Okay.
Yeah, let them answer.
Okay.
It's an interesting question, a good question, and what I'd promote is reform and especially electoral reform, because I think the voting system might be a bit long for some people. I mean, putting like numbers next to each candidate, 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatnot. It might be a bit long, and I think electoral reform just to make voting easier, and so more people might turn out and vote, and increasing the turnout, making the system more democratic, and bearing the electoral system would be a priority going forward. And yeah, I'm not going to become a dictator, but I do promote electoral reform.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
yes, thank you.
So that's a good question, actually. Obviously, the president have done a great job, but I feel like there's things that could be improved. For example, engaging the postgraduate, as I said, advertise more and make it easier to approach students, go around and ask them what changes could be to engage in more. I feel like also try to do more activities as in a set to engage more people. Maybe as I seen like few days, there's a few particular days that is always been those activities, but on certain days there's less of activities. Maybe try to promote different days that equally active. And yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. You're talking about fully funded fees. Is it right if you just go a bit more into that, please?
Yeah, for fully funded fees, the NES is already has a campaign for this. The page is also sharing on Instagram, and they have the new vision of education where they have mentioned that funded, democratic, and flexible education. I want to pursue this idea because I believe that the students who are spending a lot of fees, the domestic students who are paying taxes in this country, they should get fully funded education, and students who are coming from international countries, they're paying double fees. And that's not fair because it's unjustified amount. And it should be reduced. I'm not saying it's free for international students. It should be reduced so that it should be a justified amount.
I think that's good. Thank you. Okay, since you got to say a little bit more, does anybody else have something to say?
Let's reply to that. I mean, it is an injustice in itself, but and I'm totally against it. I'm totally with you. It's not really something the university controls. Like, that's a government policy. That's something you have to go to the government for. So
Yeah.
it's just maybe starting a parliamentary petition or going to Boris Johnson or something. That would be a good idea going forward. It's not
Okay,
something
great.
the
Thank you.
university.
Do you have any questions? I'm just gonna do a question from Instagram, and then we'll get to you. So from Instagram, we have, if you were given a budget of 30K for a student project, what would you do to benefit students and the wider community?
Go.
Yeah.
Okay. For that budget, first of all, I'll focus on the more industry-focused, free-certified courses that students could do to accompany them with their degree, so that there's more option for students to consider something else through these certificates, which are paid if I don't pay for it, which are otherwise these certificates are paid. But if we use this budget on those certificates, it would be great for the students. And other than that, we will focus on the activities for the students, so that we can make students more engaged with the SU. That's the most important thing.
I think for 30,000, we could make a nice statue in honor of the greatest Aston president that has ever lived. But jokes aside, seriously, I think we should move towards, activities, getting people involved, coming together, building unity, just good activities, student bonding activities, and just activities that people, regardless of who they are, can benefit from, and just work towards maybe even revamp some of the other buildings and fix some of the broken windows or broken walls that I've seen, and they do exist. I think we should fix some of that, and activities for students to bond over and come together, because I really do promote unity, equality, fairness, and just common values, really.
Anyone else?
I think I will help those students who are already in debt and something, because COVID has hit us very badly, so I will try to help them.
So that's a good question. As it says, the question is about what can you promote for the student. I feel like it's about engaging the students, try to know what actually they want with that 3K. Probably have a questionnaire or go around and try to see the main points that actually people want to make a difference. Because it's not my 3K about my decision, it's about all of us decision about what we're going to do with the 3K towards the university and improving it.
Great. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time, so sorry. But I'm sure if you still have questions for these candidates, you can reach out to them and ask. I'm sure after we're all finished here, you can pin them down. Just kidding. You can ask them the question after. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have. Okay. So next we have VPE candidates, Vice President of Education. If you want to make your way to the front, please. Everyone, we give everyone 30 seconds to settle down. I'm going to chime in. You have 30 seconds to settle down in your seat. And give your undivided attention to the candidates in the front. Okay, just to go over the rules. Each candidate will have 35 seconds to answer the question. There should be about 6 questions asked, and if we have time left over, we will take questions from the audience on Instagram as well.
Never mind.
President of Education. Can I just say a huge congratulations to all of the candidates, and can we just please have a round of applause for the first time? So for the first time in the history of Aston, we have the highest candidates for Vice President of Education. Can we please have a round of applause? So thank you to all of you guys for doing this, and a massive congratulations to you all. It's a big step, and you've done so well. You're taking the first step, so we'll start with the questions. Okay, I need to get the timer ready. Right. First question for Adora. How would you define the role of Vice President of Education and its associated priorities?
So I would define Vice President as a representative of like official voice for the student in a higher level to the university, and it's representing all students. And also you are sorting all the like feedback and arguments that the student have feedback, and make sure that the university take action and they actually done something instead of just listening to the feedback, just ignored it.
Thank you. Next person is Banan. Do you want me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
I will lead initiatives and projects which will ensure academic excellence for all the students. In this way, I will perform my duties.
Thank you. Mansoor?
So the question was, how will I define the role?
Yes.
I believe the Vice President of Education, their primary focus is on the educational experience of students at Aston University. So not necessarily welfare student activities. The primary focus is to ensure each and every student at the university gets the best that they can out of their educational experience, and to make sure that they get essentially what they paid for.
Thank you. Eleanor?
So how I define the VPE role is to ensure that all students, so that whether that be undergraduate or postgraduate, including research students, all get their voices heard through different channels, whether that be immediately to the SU, whether that be through student reps, making that scheme really structured so that it can benefit all students, and then to ensure that overall that the students can enjoy the other things that student union put on, so events, clubs, societies, because they feel their academic education is supported. Thank you.
Thank you. Paddy?
So I would say that the role of VPE is essentially entirely focused on ensuring that students get the education that they deserve, which also means getting their needs catered to. We have lots of students with lots of different accessibility needs. Your education should be tailored so that you can access it. It's not a one size fits all. So it's also about overseeing the rep system, which is vital to the running of the university, and it needs to be empowered. And moreover, the other part is making sure that the union works for students as well. We're not just an association, we're a union. We are here to fight for students.
Sorry, thank you.
Sorry.
Last one, Cameron.
A lot of great ideas here. I agree with them mostly. It's a representative role, obviously. We are here to represent the students and give them their best chance at a good education. We're to fight for them. We're to make sure that they can get the most out of their education and ensure that we do it however they need, whether they need accessibility, whether they need help from their tutors and lecturers and things like that. We are there to fight for the students, to make sure they know they have a voice and we can help them on their way to a good education.
Thank you. Right, moving on to the next question. I'm going to start with Balan this time. What is your opinion on blended learning, and what do you think students would like to see from the university going forward?
Could you please explain what do you mean by blended learning?
So, as you know, due to COVID, we've switched to now a new type of learning called blended learning, where there's stuff uploaded online. So there are lectures online, there's seminars online, and there's also some of these summer seminars are also in person. So it's a mixed approach of learning, which is called blended learning. So what is your opinion on blended learning, and what do you think students would like to see from the university going forward now?
I think that students prefer more on-campus participation than blended learning, because in blended learning they can't reach to the tutors. Besides this, it's very much difficult to do group work in case of blended learning. So I don't support blended learning at all.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to move on to Mansur.
When it comes to blended learning, I can understand that it was essential during the time when COVID initially hit, and then obviously with the different waves of lockdowns. But I do think in-person learning is probably most beneficial for students. It's very much more interactive. It gives you an opportunity to speak to lecturers and your colleagues in an environment where you can feel a bit more comfortable than online and Zoom. But I understand that online learning can help others. So it's, people with accessibility issues that might need help in terms of they can't actually attend lectures, they may have the requirement of online learning. I can understand why that's an option. So I believe a two-tier type approach would probably work best, with an option of online learning but more in-person learning implemented on campus, more so than this year.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Paddy.
So I think that blended learning is ultimately, it has to be down to the students. There should be there should be total parity of quality and education received. And the important reason for that is that people who need online learning, such as those who are vulnerable, even now when the restrictions have gone up, can't come to class yet. So that means that no one should lose the quality of education just because they have to have it online. The important thing is that whether you prefer asynchronous online or in person, there is parity of quality and you have control over it. You get to choose.
Thank you.
I completely agree with all my colleagues. So the accessibility reason is a massive part of why it's still in blended learning and how it still is required in certain circumstances. The reason why it was previously blended learning was through questionnaires, and there was aspects that students really did like, but also we need to understand that this is an adopting society. We're coming out of COVID, so changes are happening where there may be students are in more positions where they'd want to attend classes and have that interaction with their lecturers. So that is things that need to be changed for next year.
Thank you. Next one is Cam.
Well, I don't mean to sound like a broken record here, but I think this is absolutely the way to go. I think the university's shown that it can accomplish these online things as well, online learnings, as well as lectures. And I think it's imperative we do move back to lectures. I remember from previous being in lectures, they would go out of their way to show that it is imperative that people often learn more if they can be in person, but also it is also needed, if we can, to get, and I believe it is, and it's been shown, that to get this online learning as well, so that we can get this accessibility as on top. Thank you.
Perfectly timed. Thank you. Last one.
Can you repeat the question again?
Sure. So, what is your opinion on blended learning, and what do you think the students would like to see from the university going forward?
So, in my opinion, I think that blended learning is always a good thing, just because they have online lectures and also in person, like seminars and things. However, I do think that for future in the uni, what I want to push is you have an in-person lecture or seminar, but they also at the same time could be online. So people could not come into uni; they can use online, which is the backboard collaborate that they can see and they can ask questions in there. So it become you can use both things instead of you are just only figure on just in person or just online, because you can have more interaction. And also when lectures come into in person, they should be more interactive so that people can know what's actually going on and people will be more engaged in lectures. Sorry.
Thank you. The next question is, during the pandemic and going forward, what are the most important issues affecting the higher education sector? The first person to go is Mansur.
So I'd say during the pandemic, one of the main issues for higher education would be, and as we mentioned before, is the fact that learning wouldn't happen in the same format it's been happening regularly for people. So it's no longer normal. There's a new normal in terms of what we're implementing and how people learn. Online seminars, like webinars, basically online lectures in parts. There's just so many things that make learning, it's a different experience, and adapting to that for students who are used to something else from like primary school all the way until university, that is probably one of the biggest issues for people, is to adapt and to actually excel and do well as they were doing before at that same level.
Thank you. Eleanor.
Okay, so regarding the pandemic and how the changes have been made, in future, there needs to be a difference in how we approach things. So to prioritise this, what we have to do is see where our students are at, because we are going to have some students who have already left, so there will be alumni members that were previously affected. They've got current students also, and we've got the future students coming in. And I know that there was a big thing about the exams being moved online very last minute, and I think keeping ahead of not just internal issues or parts, but also keeping external issues and things that we're seeing along the borders, still having an eye on them before they come to get us. Thank you.
Thank you. Tally.
So the priorities at the moment need to be the COVID non-detriment policies and democratisation. COVID isn't over, and people are still overwhelming the EC system because lots of people are still suffering from it. They've got family members who are suffering from it. The university shouldn't have got rid of the non-detriment policy. It also shouldn't be like obligatory or anything, but it should be an option for you. The other thing is democratisation, having a say on how our fees are spent. So getting students in every committee, every meeting, nothing about us without us, you know, and this is a golden opportunity to reshape our relationship with the uni.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's alright, no worries. Next one is Cam.
Could I get the question again, please?
Yes. So, during the pandemic and going forward, what are the most important issues affecting the higher education sector?
Right, so obviously it's interaction. I think that's been the whole thing for everyone during this pandemic. It was difficult during it because we couldn't interact, and it's going to be difficult after it as we ease into a way of making sure that we can do so safely. Obviously, we need to find ways to ensure that learning is not compromised, and neither is safety of our students. There are people who are obviously at risk, and we need to be careful of them, but we also need to take care of the students and their needs for education, and the best possible way to get there.
Thank you.
So during pandemic, we have a lot of issues and stuff have been changed. And one of the biggest issues have been during this probably like last couple of months is because of our exam have suddenly got moved to online like a week before, and people didn't go announce it. So what I'm proposing is like the exam should be moved online or in person, got decided a month before instead of they're going to decide like a week before. And this is what is most important that affecting student lives. And at the same time, lecturers might suddenly say that they're ill or have COVID that have to stay home. So these kind of stuff they have to send an email in advance so that students don't come in just because they didn't know that that's the lectures.
Thank you. Last one, Bala?
Yeah, like my previous colleagues mentioned, it is very much difficult to interact with the teachers. I myself faced the difficulty of reaching my teacher during a course. It was failed to reach him for many weeks, and so it was also difficult to reach him through WAS because he was located in another country, and the course was entirely online based. So this is the main issue, that the classes are conducted online, and besides that, some students prefer to go to examination hall rather than attending online exam because they don't have fast typing skills. So these are the two main issues.
Thank you. Next question is, with university lecturers and staff union strikes being likely in the future, how will you try and ensure students are not being impacted by this? The first person to go would be Eleanor.
Okay, so I went to an emergency student council meeting about this about a month ago, And it was really interesting to see both speakers' side of view from the Aston University, but also from the union. Now, there is always a right for employees to strike, and we can't kind of change that. But I think where we can impact it is the communication between the two bodies, and if the union, I find a simple solution that they want to stick to and their goals of what they want out of it, the expectation then can be communicated where negotiations can be successful or at least constructive into what both parties need. Thank you.
Thank you. Paddy.
So I've already been involved in organising things like teach outs and solidarity things between the union and the UCU. I've got a lot of links with people in the UCU through my various experiences as an officer and a campaigner. What we can do, people in the UCU don't want to hurt students. So what we can do is collaborate with them on things like teach outs, get mitigation thing, improve communication, as the previous colleague said. And most of all, demand that management improve the working conditions of our academics. We lose too many of them end up going to different jobs because...
Sorry,
yeah.
Thank you. Next one, Cam.
Can I get the question again, just so I can...
Yes. So with university lecturers and staff union strikes being likely in the future, how will you try and ensure that students are not impacted by this?
I mean, it's a difficult question because the thing is that students are the most impacted by this when we don't particularly have as much a foot in the game as the teachers and management. I generally agree with a lot of these strikes. If you read some of the things they're saying, they also want to improve the students' lives and they want to try and do that to least impact these students. I think, as my colleagues have said, communication is key, trying to work with the lecturers and things like that, and ensuring that we can, as soon as possible, get information from the lecturers to the students.
Thank you. Adora?
So strike has always been an impact in my whole uni life. What I would propose is prior to the strike, lecturer could try to put on the pre-recorded lectures or previously years that they have recorded their lectures they can put on it, or if not, if they can't do that, they will make sure that the exam is not going to get asked those questions. At the same time, I would propose that the university, our department should be giving more support to the student during the strike period, because as a final year student we have just lost everything because of strike, and if we have extra support from different departments from other from the university, it will be a great benefit for us.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, like my previous colleague mentioned, I will take help from the Aston University staff and also my teachers, and through their effective collaboration we can ensure that students are not impacted by strikes. And besides, I shared in my manifesto that through effective academic representative network we can ensure academic excellence and also promote academic performance of the students.
Thank you.
I don't think you can ensure students aren't impacted by strikes. I think an impact on students is inevitable. If lecturers are striking, your education is going to be affected. I think what's important, as mentioned before, is communication. So communication on the part of the lecturers towards students, that the fact that there are going to be strikes and your learning is going to be affected, not on the week of the strikes, but maybe a week or 2 or 3 weeks before, so students can prepare beforehand. And on top of that, some sort of communication with the university to let them know that students are being affected by strikes and is having an impact on students. I don't know if the SU can be a mediator of sorts, but some sort of communication between different organisations to ensure students' impact is minimal.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. How would you work with the current university working group to further close the BAME attainment gap? The first person to go is Paddy.
So the BAME attainment gap in this university is really interesting because the uni likes to boast that it has a really diverse employment, which isn't true, because if you look at the academics, most of them are white, most of them are men. Where they've got diversity is in the custodial staff. So what's really important is getting representation, getting representative voices on those committees. And not just so that those voices are heard in the sense that, oh, well, we consulted some people and here's what we... No, empower those voices so that they actually make a difference, so that those voices are part of the decision-making process. And then we, as a union, have to hold the management to account.
Very interesting, important question. I think the truth is very powerful here, as Paddy has said. I think a lot of people don't realise a lot of the issues here, and I think if we can get some stringent facts and let people know the issues that are happening, I think people would be more horrified, or be more willing to try things if they knew the actual issues at play here. I think we need to get involvement. We need to get people to understand the problems, and we need to ensure that they can see what they can do for a solution.
Thank you. Adora.
So, pay gap is always a big thing, because like people could have the same pay rate, but they could be in the lower bound or the upper bound for the same rate at the same time. So what I'm going to propose is we can get like different a committee from different ethnicities, so that people could be representing them. As for example, like I'm a minority among all the students, as you can see, and what we could do is having that committee, we can talk the issue and talk about what's actually going on, and actually help them to face the help them to solve their struggling. It's not only on pay; it could be on other stuff also, like mental health, or even on teaching, or sometimes there's not enough support.
Thank you.
Could you please explain the question?
So the question is, how would you work with the current university working group to further close the BAME attainment gap?
I will run workshops rather than seminar, because workshops are two-way and seminars are one-way. Through that, I will try to reduce the BAME attainment gap, and besides this, I will ensure democratic opinions of all through running booth, and also by taking opinions through Google Forms or Microsoft Forms. In this way, I will ensure equality, and I also included this in my manifesto, that's ensure equality for all.
Thank you.
Currently, I think these discussions, they seem like they're happening in an echo chamber of sorts. And I think the thing is, general students across campus, how many of them do you think know what a BAME attainment gap is, let alone that it exists? And I think one of the most important things is to educate students and raise awareness around the fact that something like this exists within the university, mobilize the student movement to actually ensure it can be fought against. If you're doing it where it's like, yeah, we're going to work with the university, whereas students who probably are one of the strongest bodies on campus don't know anything about this issue, then you're going for something which you can't even accomplish if you don't have the support of the students, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Okay, so the BAME attainment gap is, I think Paddy did quite a good explanation of how the university's distribution amongst employees is when they try and push that it's really good in this university. For example, I think about 2 years ago there was a report, and it was about 13% was our attainment gap in our university. But when, as Paddy says, that isn't across the whole board. You've got higher attainment gap when you look at the ones who are higher up senior lecturers compared to the ones who are doing the other tasks or the ones in the offices and things like that. But they balanced it out to make it look better. So this is where we need to go in... Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Next question is, how would you make sure students receive the best academic experience on campus? The first person to go is Cam.
Obviously, so best academic experience. I think the only thing we can do is try and find out what is the best academic experience for them, which means we need to ensure that we are in constant communication with our students and ensure that they can have a complete feedback loop where we can alter things and ensure that things are going well for them. So it has to be with the students. It's imperative that we include them as much as possible, whether that's through polling or asking or just, generally seeing how things feel around, but making sure that we include them is vital to this discussion.
Thank you. Adora.
So what will make the best experience of academic. Basically, what I'm going to do is what Yasmin have been doing like for this whole year, like about Speak Week, which is a big thing that every year you have Speak Week, and students will be filling in like questionnaire that we can know what's going on with the student and what do they actually want. But at the same time, feedback is so important that I will want like a mid and end module feedback so that student can tell what's going on wrong in the mid module and figure out does that got improved in the end of the module. And this is the main important, like communication is so important. It's a key thing that is involved for the best academic.
Thanks, everyone. Anna.
Yeah, I will try to promote innovation in delivering academic curriculum. Besides this, I will try to develop an effective academic representative network. In this way, I will ensure academic excellence. And also, I will run a booth every month where students will give their feedback in a bowl. And among the feedbacks which I think will be right, I will select and try to implement by taking the help of academic staff.
Perfect, thank you. Next one, Paddy.
So I don't know about you, but I've had times when I felt like it doesn't even matter what my feedback is. The university management isn't listening, or it's pretending to listen, but it's not actually doing anything. So that's why democratisation is really key to me. I want to give students agency over their learning. That's how you get the best learning experience, one where the feedback matters and they have control over these things. So democratisation. So getting student voices, students on the committees and making, again, sure that their voices actually matter, making sure that they're part of the decision-making process, and not just like part, but of the decision-making processes. They are the decision makers. Through the rep system, we can empower the rep system so it's no longer just this consultancy thing. We actually make a difference, and talking to your rep can actually lead to some change. But that really involves making sure that staff are held to account, that management are held to account, and that they're decision makers.
Thank you, Mansour next.
I think what's important is for the academic experience is the understanding of what students want from the academic experience, and also transparency with students. I think one avenue which you can use to ensure students can actually interact with their VPE and then ensure that their feedback is carried to the university is the student reps or the course representatives, and I think that is communication that needs to be taken advantage of by the VPE to ensure that students feel included and their voices are heard. At the moment, I do think that student reps working on the reception, I have seen a lot of student reps who have a lot of questions that I think they struggle to feel heard and things like that. So I think that's something that really needs improving upon.
Okay, so a massive part of the VP role is Speak Week, but I agree that feedback needs to be throughout, and when you get feedback, there also needs to be, that's the impact of students need to receive feedback, but also students need to be there in the review. So if feedback isn't good enough, students then need to be part of that plan to make it better. So this year I've been working in the EPS office and doing some student experience champion teamwork, and basically we've created a feedback template so that when it's filled in, students get the best feedback or the ones that they expect to get back. Similarly, I think for student reps, there are really good aspects and there are parts that need to be structured better.
Thank you.
That's right.
Perfect. The next question links to this question. So how would you engage student representatives?
So time for the next question.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Alright, so that was the end of questions for Vice Presidents of Education.
Yeah, so
I think we should have got more time because we have more candidates.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We do have about 2 minutes, so that means I can only take maybe one question from the audience. Okay. Just say it.
I have a question for all of you. Let's say I'm elected president or any of you are elected president. How would you, or any of you, work with us? How would you work with us, basically?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so think of your question and try to answer it as best as you can.
Mansour raised his hand first.
Okay, I'll let you delegate.
I'd go into the office and work with you.
Teamwork is a massive thing and it always leads from the top, so if you're a good leader then I'll work with you very well.
I've been DSO this year. I can tell you that it's all about, as Eleanor just said, teamwork, lead from the top, and also involving everyone in communication and making everyone feel valued. So if you are leading from the top and you are making sense and you're happy for me, you're supporting me in my endeavours, we'll get along.
Thank you.
I think cooperation, coordination, and making sure that we're speaking with each other, making sure that everything is clear. I think it's just things can go plain sailing as long as we all have mutual respect. And
thank you.
So teamwork is most important, but at the same time, I'll probably have a 2-week meeting with you, so I know what's going on with you and what's going on with me, and then we can communicate what's actually be on the same page. And you can always drop me a message if I get the role. You can always drop me a message, or I can drop you a message whenever we come with struggles.
Perfect. And
I will try to reach you through social media, as well as I will arrange one-to-one meetings with you and raise your concerns to the Aston Union.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. Okay, next we have PW. So.
How you doing?
Okay, team of plans. Oh, great. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Okay, team of plans, you know.
No, you were not.
How we do it.
No, you were not. I saw the live video.
We're going to take a 10-minute break. It's been a long hour, so it is 2:25, and everybody back by 2:35.